A vehicle that is GM or Ford, and it's one of the millions affected by the latest recalls. Don't be alarmed if you're still waiting to have it fixed. Today, GM said it is still in the process of notifying customers about when they can get their cars repaired. Tricia Hendricks joins us with more on what local experts have to say. Tricia?
Lindsay, we caught up with an expert to weigh in on the recent GM and Ford recalls, as well as someone that's been directly affected by it.
I've probably done 100 of these.
At High Tech Car Care, these guys are busy doing checkups. They just found out this GM is one of 2.6 million vehicles that were recalled a couple months ago.
And this is Saturn Ion. It's one of the affected General Motors vehicles.
In addition to the Saturn Ion and Sky, the Chevy Cobalt, the HHR, Pontiac G5, and Solstice. Jim Garnon with Neighborhood Automotive Repair Professionals has a tip to take about your key ring.
Get all the other boggles and stuff that are hanging on it off so that you have just the ignition key. It will greatly reduce the chances of you having any issues with this particular recall.
This car was initially brought in for something else. Turns out the car belongs to Democratic State Senator Katie Hobbs, who learned today it's part of the recall.
They called and said, hey, your car is part of the recall. And I haven't even paid attention to the whole thing at all because I thought it was just Chevys.
Luckily, she hasn't had any ignition problems up to this point, but once the redesigned ignition switches are available,
Getting it fixed.
the first repairs are available for model years 2003 through 2007.
It's going to take some time for those parts to get down the supply chain.
GM responded to one of my tweets today saying customers can visit gmignitionupdate.com for info on the ignition recall that's been linked to at least 13 deaths.
The time that it took from them knowing there was a problem to the time they act is what's getting them in the most difficulty.
As for Ford's latest recall on nearly 386,000 Escapes from models 2001 to 2004 because of potential steering control problems, this shop hasn't seen any of those thanks to the climate here.
There are very few rust-related issues in Phoenix.
Well, today was the day that GM was supposed to start fixing
Where salt
those
is used to clear snow and ice from the roadways, dealers will install reinforcement brace to fix that issues. And of course, when in doubt, get it checked out. In Phoenix, Tricia Hendricks, 12 News.
Tricia, thanks. Today was the day that GM was supposed to start fixing those vehicle ignition problems, but more than a dozen dealers are saying they don't have the parts. The problem with the ignition switch causes some GM vehicles to accidentally shift from the run to the accessory position while the car is being driven, and that can cause the steering and other functions in the car to fail. The problem has been linked to 13 deaths.